Hello. This is the new me. This is how I look from now on. Ever since I painted my face this way, this glow has been following me. And no matter how hard I try, I can't wash the corpse paint off. And sometimes the guitar manifests and I have to play until my hands bleed. It usually doesn't take that long. I have very soft fingers. I'm sorry, that was out of character. Everything smells like lamb's blood. Sudden urge to decrease the volume of churches in my area. Okay, that's enough of that. Due to a complex web of untreated neuroses, my brain has decided it is a good idea to start a new work army. One living room's worth is not enough. Why not two? These are the kind of thought patterns I want to reward, and it's exactly what I'm gonna do. I really like the new Deffkilla Wartrike model, but I feel like one fundamental flaw in its design is that it doesn't look like spiked, gothic, punk rock, black, and gunmetal platform booty heels. And today we're gonna try and be the change we want to see in the world, using the power of 3D printing for its greatest purpose known so far. I really like old boy and knob head, so we're gonna use this retro top knot head and save the head the model comes with as a snack for later. I also sculpted this tiny cow skull and ZBrush that we're gonna put right there. Sure. Here are young kings in their final converted form. I added the Space Marine head stack because I feel like my boys killed enough Marines in 8th edition to justify a small souvenir from the gift store of hard times. You should watch the new Adam Curtis documentary instead of this. It's really good. Next, try and use some Tester's epoxy to make track marks and realize that they can't really do that. It's not the purpose of this liquid cement. And end up just wasting like half a tube for no reason. Yeah, it looks like dog shit. Next, drive to and back from your local hobby store 10 minutes before they close at 9:50 on a work night. Take your big ass Warhammer branded bag, walk through my parking garage. Remember that you impulsively bought a Chaos Defiler on your way out. Just take a moment to think about your life a little. Okay, that's enough thinking. After you got your boil nice and primed, just make some whatever this shape is out of green stuff, and use the tires as a stamp. Just rolled the wheels back and forth like a little baby till I got a pattern on the base that I was happy with. It's the gray we hate to love, German field gray, just like most black metal musicians. You know what, all those areas are going to be covered in corpse paint soon anyways, so you can just skip this stuff. You want to go wild with the metal dry brushing, but not too wild, just wild enough. I wanted the trike to feel mostly black, and yeah, like metal, but mostly black. Black metal. Anyways, more black. Yeah, I basically everything on them, either dark gray or black. Some brown tones on a few of the leather areas for flavor. I used overbrushing, the purgatory between dry brushing and highlighting to add some paint chips. The motion is pretty similar to dry brushing, but you want to use a smaller brush and a little bit more paint than you would with a dry brush. The forsaken highlight brushes of yesterday are usually relegated to this purpose after a while. Guess who forgot to drill out their gun barrel? Guess who rushed and drilled it off center? I added some brass scorpion on the chain and a few of the other metal areas just because I felt like it was looking a little too monotone. A little too monotone. Damn, my brain full of Freudian slips today. I'm also juked on coffee right now. I put some Alzheimer's juice, aka dark brown enamel paint, just about everywhere there would be engine oil. So like largely between pipes, yeah, I guess mostly just there. Overbrushing, the sequel. This time with even more hand and less model in frame. Dry brush the cow skull, you forgot the sand. God, those print lines are gonna haunt me. I think I started with a few yashapti bone base, then gradually added more and more wraith bone. I definitely didn't add any like actual white though. I wanted it off-white so it didn't clash with the skin of the boys. Put a gradient of dryad dark to black on the horn. Painted the non-cow skull with a few yashapti bone and Arid Earth, wraith bone. They're the same color. One of those two as well. Base coated the teeth with Robert Zemeckis Desert. Applied a first highlight of that mixed with a little bit of yashapti bone. Rinse and repeat, this time with Arid Earth mixed in. And I dry brushed all the non-metal areas with the world's tiniest amount of light gray. Keywords light and tiny. A nice easy way to get some very subtle highlights on the darkest areas. Hello, we are back and out of bed 9 days later and we're ready to apply what am I doing here? What year is this? What model am I painting? I'm gonna assume it's 2015, there's no plague, StarCraft 2 is still somewhat culturally relevant, and a slight shimmer of optimism still shines in the pupils of God. Oh, I remember now, we're painting Dead Space Marine heads. One of life's guiltless pleasures. I was initially gonna do White Scars, Raven Guard, and especially Iron Hands to represent the bad boys of 8th edition, but I like these colors more, and I hope and pray there will be plenty of dead Dark Angels to come. Lord knows we're gonna need all the prayers we can get. After I base coated all of the helmets, I dry brushed them with a little bit of off-white for maximum dusty effect. Then I applied a secondary wash of all the base colors that we used on the helmets again on top. Applied a thin wash of purple to the pipes just to tint them a little and give them some oxidization? Is that what it's called? Pipes turn purple sometimes. Purple pipes. Okay, I just googled it. It is not oxidization that makes them purple. Some pipes are just born that way. It is once again time to drown our brain cells in the forbidden chocolate sauce. As per usual, I use a whole lot of this just about everywhere. It's good on the off-whites, it's good on the Space Marine helmets, it's good on all the metal areas, it's good everywhere. I applied quite a bit on the helmets, mixed with odorous paint thinner. I just like the way it dries when you do it that way. Forget exactly how many layers I used, but it's quite a few. I did a dark brown pass, I did a selective orange pass on a bunch of stuff too. And I have like a medium brown enamel that I glazed over, and yeah, they look good in tandem. Like weathering powders, I feel like it's best if you use like a few different tones and then apply them selectively, so it's more interesting for the eye to look at. I airbrushed a 1-to-1 ratio of diarrhea to brownie batter. Highlight with peanut butter, then come all over the base. Yeah, dry brush from the heart. Switch over to a baby brush when the big boy gets tired, and more or less forget the entire process and pray you can replicate it when you need to base the rest of the army. I don't know, man. It's some combination of Scrag Brown, XV88, and yashapti bone. I airbrushed a really small amount of yashapti bone onto the tires and the underside. He's like a little chinchilla rolling around in dust. Whatever happened to chinchillas? Frantically check the price of random altcoins on your phone that you've invested a lot in instead of having a 401k. Look at that, we just made 10 Gorkanauts worth of Dogecoin. Oh, no, we lost it. Oh yeah, the corpse paint. I guess that got painted on at some point. I did that. Yeah, so initially I tried to be a fancy boy and mix the Abaddon black, Abaddon black? Don't tell me his name is Abaddon. I saw someone pronounce it that way in a GW video, and what I saw disturbed me.
Abaddon.
Sorry, I've calmed down. But I did spend 4 minutes making that graphic, and I'm gonna leave it. Yeah, so initially I mixed black ink with the Abaddon black, but I don't think it was really necessary. I was just kind of experimenting for the sake of doing so. One thing that did help a lot though, besides just painting with watered down black obviously, is using micron pens. You can get them from like Michael's or any like art store. Gundam markers are, to my knowledge, kind of the same thing for these purposes at least. Faber-Castell too. Yeah, just like any like fine tip pen, fine tip Sharpie should do okay too. And yeah, as always, when you're trying to copy something that's real, use reference. It just makes your life way easier. It's what most people who draw do. It's what you should do when mini painting too. Yeah, just be sure to have a few dozen photos on your camera roll that would have put you on a terrorist watch list if you lived in Norway in the 1990s. Some other key things to really help: spend a long time trying to get the consistency of the paint just right, and practice on like newspaper or scrap paper to make sure you're happy with how the paint looks before you apply it to the model's face. And don't expect to get it like all in one go too. I like went back with white later and touched it up quite a bit. It's really hard when you're painting like something that fine at this small of a scale to get it perfect right away. So yeah, do black and then white after, and then yeah, just keep refining. More dumb Jews go on base. I tried to do a fast streaking motion to represent that like there's grime that's maybe actually being like pushed back by gravity as the Wartrike's going so fast that like streaks are forming. To introduce some more color and solidify that these guys are really full tilt evil, I made the headlights glow red with an airbrush. I think this is Mephiston red as a base, and then I probably airbrushed Evil Sun Scarlet on after, because I always do that. We're pretty close to done here. I just spent some time trying to decide exactly where I wanted the model to be placed. I had a pretty good idea because I had already like made the tracks earlier and had a specific placement in mind when I did so, but yeah, I like finagled with it a little bit just to be absolutely sure before gluing him down. I have a very dried out container of AK Interactive African Dust Effects. I think that's what it's called. Did I just make up that name? Wait, let me make sure. I guess it's called Africa Dust Effects, but yeah, you would have found that with a Google search. Any like this kind of off-white color enamel paint would do though. But yeah, like the airbrush of dust that we applied earlier, just a nice way to unify the model with the base a tiny bit more. As you can see, I'm doing some like splattering effects on the tire here, just to represent like wet patches of dust that have been wet patches of dust. Okay, take two. We want to make some muddy boys. And once again, to finish things off, we're gonna use some secret weapon pigment powder that have probably been out of print for like 4 years. Like a lot of these tools though, a lot of manufacturers make things that are like almost exactly the same. I'm sure any other like weathering powder that's about these colors would be just as fine. I mixed my powder with some matte varnish, pigment fixer, and water together. I like how pigments look the best dry, and it also makes it like the easiest to predict how they're gonna look, but they're not great if you use them for gaming. They'll just like flake off over time. And it's very annoying to have like tons of pigment on your hand mid-game. But yeah, my standard process for doing this for gaming models is to mix it with the matte varnish, water, pigment fixer, and then spray an extra coat of matte varnish on after. I want to do multiple layers as the matte varnish tends to dull the effect a bit. And yeah, you can see I'm applying it to the base here too, just to outline the rocks and make them pop out from the rest of the desert because it's the same color as them. This dark steel pigment rules. I use it on my Necrons too. If you want to have a surface that's like very dark but still metallic, it's a great way to make something shiny without making it feel like silver. This stuff I applied dry, and yeah, we want to do multiple coats, and I put like I think a few in between layers of matte varnish ultimately. Oh my god, we once again forgot the grot. Prime said grot, then spend like 20 minutes fumbling around your apartment trying to find other things to prime because you put way too much primer into your airbrush and you don't want to waste it. Since I'm going to be painting a whole army with this color scheme, I wanted to use the grot as a test to see if I could get the same results faster. And the biggest change was to the skin, which is now just entirely airbrushed outside of a single white highlight after, and then some black and purple glazes just for a little bit of shading at the end. And as this is going to be for a whole army, I'm going to make a bunch more videos that go over this process and different models and different steps that change over time. I mean, it's a big part of starting a new army, just learning your color scheme and the best way to do it over repetition and practice. And yeah, that's the whole video. I hope you learned something. I hope you had a good time. I hope the section where I had an edible wasn't very noticeable. May or may not extend to now. If you'd like to support me on Patreon, there will be a link in the video description, and we have an awesome Discord that there will be a link to too. It's free to join. And as always, thanks for coming by.